Guys, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's New Year's Day. It's January 1st, 2025. First of all, welcome to the sports show with no name. We're back for 2025. Something a little bit different today, if you noticed. Um, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, hello, welcome. We're on Facebook for the first time. So, 2025, we're doing things big. Or at least we're just doing things different. I don't know if they're big or not, but we're doing things different. Anyway, hope you guys all had a good Christmas. It's a great time of the year. I woke up and my entire yard is white this morning. The trees, the grass, everything is just covered in snow and ice. And
it's that time. It's that time of year officially.
Just can't wait for spring. Christmas is over now. I can't wait for spring, right? Like, there's no reason for it to be cold and snowy anymore. Christmas.
Dude, I was in the store. I was at the store the other day, and they already had Valentine's Day stuff out. I'm like, dude, it's not even Christmas yet.
Of course. I'm surprised they don't have everything lit. I'm surprised they don't have the 4th of July display out. It's like they're always like 6 or 7 months ahead. It drives me crazy. Anyway, welcome to the sports show with no name. Like I said, Happy New Year. Oh, where'd it go? Why did it flash away? Happy New Year. Seriously, Happy New Year. Don't take my graphics away. What are you doing? Talk studio. Anyway, probably shouldn't talk bad about the streaming platform that we're on currently. Won't do that again. Anyway, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We don't really have any headlines today. The headline is it's a brand new year and we're live on Facebook. So that's fun. Have a pretty good show. We're just going to preview the Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Oregon, part 2, the rematch, if you will. I don't know, sequel, however you want to go about that. Should be a pretty good game out in Pasadena. Pasadena. I churched it up a little bit, eh? Pasadena is where that's at. Ben is hiding behind the fireworks as I look at my screen. Don't hide behind the fireworks. Anyway, we'll take a look at the Rose Bowl. I wanted to get into some of the other playoff games, but the reality is they start very soon here at 1 o'clock, and we don't have the time. So we're just going to talk about Ohio State, Oregon. And listen, at the end of the show, we got to talk about something else that's going on with the bowl season. I will just zombie Pop-Tart. That's all I'm gonna say for that. I will preview that a little bit. But let's get right into it because, like I said, I think we have a pretty good show. Ohio State versus Oregon, part 2, Rose Bowl edition. I've gone ahead and I've named the whole sequel. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about how I feel on this one, Ben. These two teams are different. They're completely different teams than when they met back on October 12th, right? Ohio State's 11-2. We know the story. They obviously have the loss to Oregon, the 1-point loss in Eugene, which I still see people online saying that Oregon blew Ohio State out the first time they played. And I don't understand. You can't lose by less than 1. How's that a blowout? I don't know. Anyway, apparently they got blown out. So Ohio State has no chance. The Buckeyes have no chance because they got blown out in Oregon the first time. I still see people say that. That's wild. It wasn't a blowout. And obviously the disappointing loss to Michigan, which, Michigan fans like to – hey, Michigan – listen, I want to give Michigan credit today on the show. They finished the season in a really strong fashion. You can say what you want about Alabama being checked out because it wasn't a playoff game, whatever. Michigan finished strong. They beat Ohio State. They beat Alabama to end the season. That's what, number, 2, 3 in the nation, and then number 11 in the nation. That's a pretty strong finish to the season.
And back-to-back wins of being double-digit underdogs, too.
Yeah. So, listen, I'm not above saying, hey, congratulations to Michigan. That's a heck of a way to end the season.
And I think, I know everybody here is probably Ohio State fans, but
yeah, we
all know how big quarterbacks are in college football.
Yeah.
Michigan was, 8-5 this year? Because
7-6, 8-5. I don't know.
Some of that, but because they didn't have an elite level quarterback.
Yeah.
Now next year, you bring in Bryce Underwood, the number 1 ranked recruit in the country.
Yeah. Do you think he starts next year? Looking at that quarterback room, it's possible, right? It's certainly possible.
It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you see somebody else start for maybe the first 4 games, and if it doesn't go well, then you throw him out there and be like, hey, go get him. Right?
Okay. So has Sharon Moore kind of solidified his spot there? He was on the hot seat for a while, but I think with their finish, don't you give him 2 or 3 years now? I don't know.
I feel like you have to because it's still not his recruiting class.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you got to give a guy up until his first recruiting class, and then you can officially start to judge him.
Okay, and I mean, listen, it's tough to take over a program midstream from a guy like Jim Harbaugh, and then have any success recruiting right away. I think especially with the way it was going, I think guys were really just kind of turned off by the direction the program was headed for a while. I mean, they looked really, really bad to start the season, and they still can't really throw the football. Like you said, they don't have a quarterback. I mean, they really don't. But they're beating really good teams. I mean, they've beaten two teams that Alabama was in the discussion for a playoff spot, even with the weird losses this year to Vanderbilt, whoever else.
But
Oklahoma.
They're doing it with defense.
Yeah. Their defense is elite.
It is.
It's absolutely elite. And I said this, I think I told you after they beat Indiana, when they clamped down in the second half on Indiana, went straight man-to-man and just really stopped an explosive Indiana offense. I kind of looked at that team and I said, man, I don't love this. Coming into the Ohio State game, it's like they're finally getting stuff figured out. They're getting these these matchup problems that they had. They're figuring all this stuff out.
Yeah.
And then they blew out Northwestern. And I know the transitive property doesn't ever work in college football. We've talked about it on the show. It's not a way to compare teams, but it started to make you feel like, man, maybe Michigan has some things clicking coming into this game.
Yeah.
And they did. They certainly had some things, at least defensively, clicking. So
yeah. And I mean, talking about defense, kind of just like, preview for the Rose Bowl, obviously. Ohio State hasn't given up a passing touchdown on defense since that Oregon game.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. And a lot of people want to say things about, you say what you want about Denzel Burke and Davison Igbinosun, but they've clamped down. I mean, they have.
But I also think it's weird. Everybody knows Ryan Day is this, offensive mastermind, and this guy, that's, known for developing quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after that Oregon game, they had that 2-week break, right?
Yeah.
And during that 2-week break, he wasn't with the offense at all. He let Chip Kelly take care of the offense. He went and worked with the defense. So you got an offensive guy working with the defense, and now this defense is even better than what it was when they were considered the best defense in the country.
Yeah. Now, is that because Ryan Day went hands-on, or is that because, maybe the defensive staff just felt eyes on them a little more and they tightened up? I mean, what is that?
I've always said this. Me and my dad have always said this. If we, if we ever won the Mega Million Powerball and we're buying an NFL team and we're hiring Tony Romo as our defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Because I think
he always knows what's coming.
That's what I'm saying. I think offensive guys would be so much better at defense because they know what's coming. They know what the defense is like, especially quarterbacks, because they're thinking, okay, if I call this play, they could be in this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a gauge of what to call.
Yeah, and I think you kind of know the variations off of that. Like, any kind of little wrinkles or anything like the misdirection stuff that you can kind of call. Like, if we're having success with this play, normally where we go next is this, because the defense starts leaning one way. Yeah, I mean, I just think
it was Ryan Day, giving his 2 cents on coaching the defense on what offensive guys would do. From my understanding, that's kind of what his role in it was. Like, Jim Knowles was still in control of the defense, but he was kind of like, hey, if they line up like this guy could do this, this, and this. This guy could do this, this, and this. Or they could motion to this, or like this guy's gonna pull, and this blitz lane will be open.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think we didn't to talk about the Tennessee game at all.
Yeah,
at least afterwards.
I don't know if you've seen, but we've been blitzing our linebackers up the middle a whole lot more.
Yes,
but they only do it when the other teams pull the guard. So like when teams go to do like an outside run, we're blitzing right at the middle, and we're able to track the guy down from behind and keep him in the backfield.
Well, and when you have two good – listen, they have two good defensive ends that are really good against the run. I think Jack Sawyer and JTT, I mean, they've proven they're good against the run. You can do that.
Yeah.
When you have two guys that can set the edge, and, linebacker play has been what it's been. I think Sonny Styles is getting better at the linebacker position. I think this team is missing like a true Ohio State linebacker, right? Like the Andy Katzenmoyer.
I think if you put like Pete Werner on this Ohio State team, their defense goes from here up to like here.
Yeah, and you don't have to ask him to cover receivers anymore on this team. You know what I mean?
No,
you've got Caleb Downs that can do that.
Yep.
I think you've got a lot of different guys that, it just seems like you're always missing that one piece, right?
It does. But under Ryan Day, though, it's always seemed like that's been the case at one position every year.
Yeah.
Like this year on the offensive side of the ball, it's a tight end. You don't have an elite tight end.
No.
You have the last couple of years.
Yeah. I
with
mean, G.
Cade
Scott
Stover.
shows flashes every now and then, but he
He does,
also
but
makes a lot of mental mistakes.
you look at Cade Stover, he was that safety valve that CJ Stroud to just go, okay, I know Cade Stover's here. I'm just going to check it out of him. He's going to get 17 yards.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Urban Meyer, he might have had those weaknesses, but those players still made big time plays in big time games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you
It's
look,
weird.
my biggest
Will
one was,
Kazmarek is not the guy that's going to make,
yeah,
a lot of plays in the passing game. He's a good blocker. He's a good blocking tight end.
Yeah.
It's nice to have him back. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think he plays a part in this game today.
I do want to, speaking of that, though, I do want to, I know the transfer portal is a big thing. Ohio State did get the number 1 tight end in the country.
Yes.
So Ryan Day went out. He addressed the problem at tight end, which I like. I mean, Chad, you know how much of a big hater I am of Ryan Day. I don't think he's.
Well, I said it here on the show. I said, listen, I think you got to think about, if he doesn't make a run in the playoffs, you got to think about firing him now.
Yep.
And I think after watching them come out against Tennessee, maybe I've changed my mind. It depends on. It depends on the intensity with which they play today.
I was just going to say that. For me, it depends on today. If you go out and you go back to the same stubborn you were in the Michigan game where you call halfback dive 8,000 times, get rid of him after this game. Even if we win, I don't care. Fire him.
Okay.
You should not be coaching the next game.
No.
If you come out,
you can't do that against Oregon. You can't attack the middle. They've got a really good defensive line. Although they're probably better against the pass. They're a really good pass rush defensive line. We'll talk about that too. Pro Football Focus actually, according to Pro Football Focus, they have the 5th best pass rush grade in the nation.
But I also think
that's going to give you some concern today, I think.
It will. I also think you'll be able to run the ball a little bit better, though, than you were against Tennessee at the beginning of the game. Like they were still trying to run the ball, but it wasn't like the Michigan game where you're just pounding the run 27 times.
Well, listen, actually, that's a weird stat, and I've got it for you. They ran the ball more against Tennessee than they did against Michigan. And they passed the ball less. They were just more effective.
Yeah, I was just saying that. But they used the pass to set up the run, though, because in the second half, there was a lot of outside runs, a lot of sweeps, a lot of –
Yes.
And it wasn't just, okay, let's just run right at their strengths, right at their interior defensive linemen, and hope that –
let's wear the 2 best defensive linemen in the nation down. That wasn't going to happen. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think it'd be interesting to see what their game plan is.
That's fine, and we'll talk about it. Let's. Yeah. I think I have some guesses on what their game plan might be, or at least some little, some little niche things that they might switch up from that Tennessee game. But let's talk about how they can avenge the loss. Because I think offensively, that first time they played pretty well, right?
Yeah.
When you put up 31 points on the road, against in a really hostile environment in Eugene. Loud place. I mean, for a smaller stadium, it seems to be acoustically, I guess it's just built right, or maybe they pump in noise to the speakers. I have no idea what Phil Knight's doing over there. People act like Phil Knight is like Darth Vader. I don't know what the deal is with that, but like he's responsible for the noise. I don't know. It's funny. Everything Oregon does is like, well, it's Phil Knight. It's Phil Knight. He's running the offense. He's the quarterback. Dylan Gates. It's not Dylan Gates. It's Phil Knight. He's 80 years old. He's running the quarterback. Anyway, yeah, when you can put up 31 points in that environment, I think you're doing pretty well. I mean, there were clear times when you could see that, they just couldn't hear. I mean, they're trying to call audibles or hot routes, whatever they're doing. And, receivers are looking at Will Howard like, I don't know, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you can't hear. You saw the false start penalties. You saw a couple early timeouts. I mean, you saw that crowd noise really start to affect them. But they still put up 31 points. So I thought that was good. But listen, I mean, can they repeat that? Because the offensive line is completely different. They've had weeks to now figure it out. It's not like they're on the fly like they were against Michigan trying to figure out a whole new offensive line. They've had some time, but Oregon also has Jordan Birch back on that defensive line. He didn't play against Ohio State the first time. I think he injured his meniscus in practice that week leading up to the game. And he's a difference maker. I mean, just simply put, he is. 9 games. He had 30 tackles, 11 for a loss, and 8.5 sacks in those 9 games. So you're going to have to know where he is. I think Donovan Jackson's probably going to be matched up against him most of the game.
What you're saying is we're going to run the ball at him the entire game?
Yeah, exactly. Just off tackle, right at Jordan Birch. I think you roll out right into Jordan Birch's face. You just don't respect his ability to rush the pass at all. Yeah, I think you have to you craft a game plan that just goes right into their strength again because it worked so well against Michigan, what they did.
Right.
I hope they don't do that. But yeah, Donovan Jackson's gonna have his hands full. I think that's where having Kazmarek is helpful because he's a great blocker. I think you see him, probably helping out with Birch a lot or with Uiagalelei on the other side, Mateo Uiagalelei, whose brother did not have a fun quarterback career in college, but that's okay.
I think he should have stayed as a defensive lineman.
Maybe.
I don't
Maybe.
I don't know if you know that. He played both sides of the ball in high school.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
played
yeah, yeah.
quarterback and defensive line.
Absolutely.
What a weird
That's
two
so. Yeah,
positions to play.
that's not normal. Usually it's quarterback and safety, right? Or
Yeah,
quarterback linebacker or something like that. Yeah.
but it's because he was 6'5", 255 pounds. Like, okay, let's just stick him at the end.
Yeah. Maybe he still has some life in his career as a defensive lineman. Who knows? Well, it'd be hard to not play for 4 or 5 years now, right? And then go back and try to play in the NFL. That'd be tough. But listen, I think Ohio State, I think the game plan is going to be roughly similar to the one they employed against Tennessee, right? I think that's
As it
smart.
should be.
Yeah. I think you have to, you attack the edges quickly and with purpose, right? And I think that is what is going to open up holes in the middle for the run game.
I agree.
I think you can still run, off tackle up the middle a little bit, but I think you have to start to spread Oregon out and get them, wide. You got to 51.5 yards, right? Like you got to, or whatever. You got to go sideline to sideline. I think you
And
have
I've said it.
to really
I
stretch
said it before. Said it before they played Tennessee, and I'll say it again.
What if we don't want you to say it again?
I'll just leave then. See you later.
If we're like, Ben, that's enough. Like you've said it. Come on.
No, but I think you have to get creative on the offensive side of the ball. Like against Tennessee, we saw the jet sweep with Jeremiah Smith, right?
Yeah.
Like you have, I mean, like every team does that in the country, right? But you don't do that with your star receiver. A lot of times, usually it's your speedster receiver that comes around and takes the ball. But like, I think you have to get creative. You have to throw something in Oregon that they haven't seen all year.
Yeah, I think you just want to get the ball in the hands of your best players, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And like even if it's putting Caleb down on offense as a decoy, don't have to throw him the ball. Just put him out there. Oregon's like, okay, like are they gonna throw him the ball? What's gonna happen here? Is he gonna get the ball?
And he's good with the ball in his hands. We've seen him return punts. I mean, we know he can. Yeah.
If it was me, that's what I would do. I would throw Caleb Downs out there for maybe a couple plays. Don't throw him the ball, but then Oregon's like, okay, they're gonna use it again. Is it gonna happen? Because then they're having to put more resources towards that.
Maybe even put him out there and go to him early. And just give him something to think about. Like, man, is this what we're doing? Like,
right?
I'm fine with that.
And I mean, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. He wanted to play both sides of the ball at Ohio State. He wanted to play safety and running back, right?
Yep.
And now he might not be taking might not have taken any snaps during the post or during the season. But you can't tell me that you could line him up in the backfield, give him the ball, and say, "Go make a play."
He's a football player. He'll figure it out. I mean, I don't think you have to have a lot of practice to know how to just find open spots in the zone and go sit down and catch a pass or whatever. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
I just think you have to be. I've told this to. I think we're talking about this with Nick. When's the last time Ohio State ran like a successful trick play?
Other than just a little like slight misdirection, I can't think of a time.
Like, and you look at all these teams that are running look at all these fake punts that happen in the bowl games, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you see the Bowling Green one?
Yes.
No, did you see the story on that though?
Yeah. They had their third string quarterback dressed up like their punter. Yeah, that was amazing. That's amazing.
Dude,
that's what gets you a job. By the way, that's what gets you a job at a Power 5 school.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's the thing with Urban Meyer too. Is
that kind of innovation. Yeah.
Exactly. But Urban Meyer also wasn't scared to take chances too.
No.
In Ryan Day, I've seen some times when it's like, okay, it's 4th and 2, you're at like the 49-yard line and you punt the football. You're like,
yeah.
Especially when you're down and you punt the football, you're like, yeah, if you get a first down here and you go down and you score, the whole momentum shifts. Instead, you're going to punt the ball right back to them.
Yeah. So keys to victory. Let's just talk about it because I think we've said it. I mean, I think Donovan Jackson's going to have to be solid. Offensive line's going to be really good.
Find number 4 on offense.
Fair enough.
And just throw him the football.
Score more points than Oregon. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Do we have to? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing. I have to score more points. Listen, I think as far as game plan, we talked about the game plan. Do you think Ohio State wants to avoid? I don't mean avoid throwing downfield in the sense that like they don't think Will Howard can do it or they don't think they can protect long enough. Although that is a concern. We talked about the pass rush. Oregon has the 5th best pass rush according to Pro Football Focus. But I think just maybe in a little bit of an attempt to keep Oregon's offense off the field in this one. Do you think they're happy just kind of going down, getting 4 to 6 yards per play? That's fantastic if you can do it. But is that kind of the goal? Like you want to score, but maybe not score quickly. You don't want to get into a track meet with Oregon, right?
Yes, I think it's. I think their game plan.
Excuse me.
I think their game plan could kind of be like the Chiefs this year.
Mm-hmm.
Get 5 to 6 yards of completion, and just wear you down. Just dink and dunk down the field.
Just keep moving the ball. Keep moving the ball.
And then when it's there,
Patriots offense back in the day, right? Yeah. Just find the open guy. It doesn't have to be, And
then when it's there, then you take your shot to Jeremiah Smith. When he's 1-on-1, take your shot.
Yep. I agree with that. I think you want to keep. I think you got to keep Dylan Gabriel off the field. You got to keep Oregon's offense off the field because they're going to have they're going to have guys back on offense too that weren't here for the first matchup.
Yep.
And I'm sure if you see this, by the way, if you see this game plan, you're going to see the echoes on social media. Fire Ryan Day. Before the game even really starts, right? You're going to see it.
Yep.
Why aren't we throwing to the ball? We weren't afraid to throw the ball downfield with quarterback X in there. Well, this isn't quarterback X, and this isn't game X, and this is today's game, and I think each game obviously calls for its own game plan. I think the game plan might even be a little bit different than it was the first time you played Oregon. You certainly don't want to go in there and do the same thing. And I think as far as Will Howard goes, I think Will Howard just has to be Will Howard. I think he's been good enough.
Yeah.
I think he's a great leader. I mean, people are going to jump on him because he's not Dwayne Haskins and he's not, CJ Stroud. He doesn't throw for 5,000 yards and whatever. You don't need that right now. I think he's good enough with his legs, although it seems like every time he runs, he comes up just a little bit short of the first down. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Is that a speed thing, or is that just like some guys have the instinct? Remember, I don't know if you remember. JT Barrett.
Yep.
Just had like amazing instincts, right? Like running the ball with his leg. He just knew how to get to the first down marker, how to get just past it. You can sometimes Michigan fans might say he was short, whatever. But he knew how to get right to the first down marker and get a first down with his legs, right?
I don't think it's that he doesn't like that he's not aware. I just think it's more of I think he gets a little bit like skittish. Like it's almost like he's afraid to take a hit.
Okay. Well, I mean, we saw what happened when he did take a hit against Michigan. I mean, he took a pretty nasty hit. And he wasn't the same the rest of the game. I mean, say what you want, but he just didn't look the same.
No, but like I just don't think he's used to I don't think he's used to a lot of design quarterback runs like Chip Kelly is. He's more like a scrambler.
When things go wrong, he's pretty, I'll give you that.
And like scrambling and actually running the ball is different because scrambling, you're just looking to stay alive. You're looking to keep the play alive. Yeah. Running the football, you don't have to. If it's a design quarterback run, you're either running between the tackles or you're running outside the tackles or you're running right down the middle. Like,
and that happens pretty quick. You gotta find that hole and hit it pretty quickly. You know what I mean? And sometimes he's not always great at that.
And that's what I'm saying. People always said like there's good scrambling quarterbacks and then there's good running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like Lamar Jackson's a great running quarterback.
Yes.
Kyler Murray's a great running quarterback.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes will scramble all day and stay out of trouble.
See, and he's a good scrambler.
Yeah, but you don't want him running, not on that ankle. I mean, everybody knows about the ankle. You don't want him to run on the ankle. But it blows my mind that people think that's a fake injury. Like, do you understand like how like shifty ankles are? Like once you hurt an ankle, man, that's it. You're gonna always hurt your ankle.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to the Buckeyes. Defensively, what do they have to do? Is there anything that I'm like different this time they need to do?
I don't think there's anything different, but you just have to contain their high-flying offense.
Yeah, you got to get more pressure on Dylan Gabriel, right? They didn't sack him one time in that game.
Yeah,
on October 12th. I think you got to get home, right? The pass rush has to get home, or I know Denzel Burke had a tough game, but listen, they weren't getting to Gabriel. Like that's a tough ask. Like you're asking, Denzel Burke to run around with the number one receiver for 5-6 seconds in a play where you're not getting home to the quarterback. I mean, it's really hard to cover a guy for that long. I don't care how good you are, who you are. It's tough to cover a guy for that long.
It is.
So maybe, not all Burke's fault that first game. He did say he didn't expect them to go at him as much as they did. So maybe he'll be looking for that this time around or whatever. And I'm sure they'll go at Igbinosun and Burke and see what they've got. Because, I'm not going to say they let the Buckeyes down the first time around, but they didn't play super well. A lot of defensive penalties, just a lot of, Burke gave up a couple touchdowns in that game. So I think they have to do a thing with it okay, so against Tennessee, I thought they did a much better job of rushing the quarterback. And I know Yami Liamba, he had some rushing yards. That's fine. But I thought they did a pretty good job of kind of clogging the middle. It seems like all year they would all the pressure came off the ends, right?
Yep.
And then there was wide open running room. Like you and I could have run for 10, 11 yards of carry in the middle of the field against this defense early in the season.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not 10, maybe 4 or 5 yards of carry. But my point is that there was running room in the middle, right? And they seem to have done a better job of kind of clogging that up. And I don't know if they're using, a spy per se. I think they're just, getting better pressure up the middle. Like you said, they're bringing blitzes up the middle and they're kind of showing some defensive line stunts a little bit.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just more of like discipline rushing.
Yeah.
like your
You're not over pursuing.
Yeah, your two interior defensive linemen aren't like they know they got two studs next to him, Jack Schiller and JTT, right? Like we know they're elite on the edge, right?
Yep. And Tyreek Williams has been great.
He has. So the two guys in the middle, like they aren't like over pursuing, thinking, okay, I got to get pressure, or else we're not going to get a sack here.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they're showing stunts too. Like one of the guys is running around in the A gap, or linebackers blitzing behind him. It's just they're getting creative with it, and I think you're seeing something on defense that you haven't seen from Ohio State in a long time, and it's confusing some teams.
Yeah, that's great. I think one of the biggest keys to this game defensively, and this is going to sound maybe a little silly or repetitive or whatever, but I think you're going to have to keep Oregon from having success early on, right? And like 1st and 10, second, whatever. I think you've got to keep them behind the chains, like down in distance speaking, because otherwise they play at a breakneck speed. And I just don't think, well, it's not good for your defense. It does two things. Obviously, it keeps you winded, right? Your legs are tired. You're just kind of guessing out there. And it limits your ability as a defense. I mean, just from like the coaching standpoint, to really get into anything complicated or exotic.
Yep.
You have to stay in base coverages and base formations, and you can't really throw a whole lot when you can't substitute and you can't get in and out of things, right? So that causes a lot of problems. Oregon's offense can cause a lot of problems moving at that speed. So it sounds silly to say, hey, well, just don't let them have success. That's how to be successful. Obviously, yeah, but you can't let them have a lot of 2nd and 4, 3rd and 1. Like, you need to keep them behind the chains, like 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 15, and get to the quarterback, right? Early on. When you want to pass on 1st down, get to Gabriel. Cause some chaos. You know what I mean? Don't let them run that fast, because that's clearly a problem. So yeah, I have here in my notes, the only way to truly slow them down is to not allow them to have success.
Yeah. I mean that
okay.
A Penn State linebacker said that he was throwing up because of how fast they were going on offense, and that's
troubling to hear, right? Yeah. Like I said, Denzel Burke and Igbenogson had to play better than they did the last time around. Do you have like what's your X factor in this game? Who is it? Is it a player? Is it a coach? Is it a
Jeremiah Smith on offense, Caleb Downs on defense?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you got to get Jeremiah Smith the ball. You have to target. You have to get targets, right? You got to give him the ball. Yeah. Or
I mean, I wouldn't say. Okay, I'll switch that. On offense, I don't think it's just Jeremiah Smith.
Okay.
I think it's Emeka Buka, Jeremiah Smith, Cardinal Tate, Brennan, and it's that whole receiver room have to make plays.
Yeah.
If you want to be
the best receiver room in the nation, they've got to go do something, right? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. For me, it's Ryan Day. The X factor is absolutely Ryan Day. I need angry, pissed off, mad Ryan Day. I keep in my notes. I have Ryan Darkside Day. I need Ryan Darkside Day out there. I need him calling plays angry. I want to see, like, I keep seeing the meme with him, like the red eyes. I need red eye Ryan Day out there. I need mad, angry. I don't care about your feelings, Ryan Day. We're going to run over you. We're going to run through you. Well, maybe not run through you because that didn't work against Michigan, but we're going to do whatever it takes to win a football game, Ryan Day. How about that? I don't care what the boosters think. I don't care what the conservative fans think. I don't care. Just go do whatever it takes to get it done. So I need Dark Side Day. I need diabolical Chip Kelly up there with the misdirections and the whatever. And I don't have an adjective for Jim Knowles yet, but I want him to be nasty too. Well, controlled rage though on defense, because like we talked about, over pursuing doesn't cut it, right?
Nope.
So I need that defense to play with that controlled rage that they used to play with under Urban Meyer. And I think they showed a really nice job of being able to do that, or at least the ability to be able to do that against Tennessee. I thought they did a great job. I think it's obvious Jeremiah Smith has to be a large part of the offense, or the Buckeyes will have just failed miserably. I mean, if you don't go out there and get him the ball, I think you failed.
Yeah.
You hope, obviously, to get the – what are my notes doing? What's happening here? I think you want the same kind of productivity out of Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins that you got against Tennessee. That does not mean halfback dives up the middle all day, right? Be creative about how you get them the ball as well. I mean, they can catch the ball out of the backfield. They can do a lot of different things. So be creative, but I think they need to have a nice game.
I would agree.
Yeah, and we talked about how they actually threw the ball more against Michigan than they did against Tennessee. It didn't seem like it. They ran the ball less, but they've got to find that balance early on. And I think, like you said, you got to play backwards. You got to set up the run with the pass.
Yep.
And it can be the short pass. You don't have to start just dialing them, just freaking like yeeting the ball downfield, right? Like don't do that.
The whole meme. Jeremiah Smith's down there somewhere. Let me just chuck it up there.
Yeah, just like whatever. He's got triple coverage. He might make a play. Let's not do that. I mean, there are enough guys in this offense. Someone's going to be open. And I know Oregon has a good pass rush. They're going to get home. They're going to get there. They're going to sack Will Howard a couple times. It's going to be frustrating. He's got to hold on to the ball. Don't fumble, right? Don't fumble. Yeah, take care of the ball. Work backwards. Open up the run with the pass. Please remember that Jeremiah Smith is on the team. That helps. And you hope you get some stuff out of G. Smith. And I don't know how much he'll be playing versus Kasmeric for the blocking aspect of it. But we'll see. And you kind of hope you get something big out of Jack Sawyer or JTT, right? And Caleb Downs, like you said, could be the X factor on defense, possibly even in special teams. We saw him return a punt against Indiana.
Yeah.
Special teams have to be better, right? Like fielding has to be better, kicking the ball. They're going to have to punt. You need to get good. I haven't even had great punts this year. Special teams has been kind of a mess.
Dude, when's the last time Ohio State had like a great punter and a great kicker?
2014.
I don't even know.
The last time they won a national title, maybe?
I mean, even then, though, it wasn't like elite. I mean, you had Sean Nurnberger, but again, like I said, Ohio State hasn't had a kicker make a 50-yarder since Mike Nugent.
That's wild.
Like, you look at all these kickers nowadays, like, kicking is a huge part of college football.
Yeah,
if you can't hit from 50-plus yards, you're limiting your entire offense because then they got to get inside the 30, pretty much.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. So I think we understand what the keys to victory are. Let's go with a score prediction. And I think, I'm probably picking with my heart here. Let's hear your score first. Let's hear your score prediction.
72-0 Ohio State. Not even close. I'm kidding.
Not even close. Put it on.
No, I'm going to go 34-31 Ohio State.
Okay. Another close game.
I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think it'll be close. I think we pull it out in the end.
Okay. Listen, I just think they found something here, right? I think Ohio State found something, whether it's the motivation. I mean, listen, they've got a lot to be motivated about in this game, right? The loss to Oregon on October 12th, they feel like that didn't quite end the way they wanted it to. The NCAA closed the loophole with the 12 men on the field penalty, which I don't think that's why they lost. I mean, people are saying that like Oregon cheated, that Dan Lanning is like a dirty coach. I thought that was brilliant. I mean, if it's there, I don't understand why you wouldn't take advantage of it. If they really truly did that on purpose, part of me thinks they just kind of lucked into that, but whatever. And then obviously, the loss to Michigan, I think motivates them. I think that would carry you. If you're an athlete, if you have any pride at all, that should carry you right through the end of the season. Just if nothing else, proving that the loss to Michigan wasn't a fluke. But I mean, maybe it wasn't a fluke. Like we said, Michigan really started to figure things out at the end of the year. Maybe Michigan's a better team than we're giving them credit for. And I'm okay with that too. Listen, I just don't care about the loss. I know. Listen, people say this, and it's silly. This is ridiculous. 1-11 with a win to Michigan. That's a successful season for me as a Buckeye.
No,
stop it, man. I'll take 11-1 all day with a loss to Michigan. If they're in the playoffs with a chance to win a national title, I don't care about the Michigan loss. I mean, I'm not trying to listen. It stung. It was terrible to watch. It was awful. I wanted to gouge my eyes out with a spoon watching that game. Okay. It was terrible, but I'm not going to go ahead and act like it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, here they are. They're in the quarterfinals of the playoffs. They've got a chance to win a national title. I just don't care. Two things can be true, right? You can be upset about the Michigan loss, but like it doesn't ruin your season if you win a national title. That's ridiculous. Nope. I think it's a ridiculous thought. And like I said, I was happy for Michigan. I liked the way they ended their season. They ended their season with a lot of pride. They showed a lot of fight and a lot of pride. And hey, whatever. I'm a human being. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I like to see it. Whatever. But I think the Buckeyes get out to a fast start in this one. I think just like kind of Tennessee, I think they go up maybe 10-13 early. They're not going to like jump out on Oregon and completely shut them down. But I do expect them to kind of jump out to a quick lead and maybe just I hope they can make that hold up. I think they win this one 34-23. I think they win by a couple of scores. It's not going to be a blowout by any means. And I think it'll be 27-23 super late in the game, and like Ohio State scores a touchdown late to kind of ice it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like 34-23 where Oregon has to keep trying to catch up all game. I think it's going to be close, and I think the Buckeyes score late to ice it.
I think the Buckeyes are down 31-0 and score 34 fourth quarter points. That's my prediction.
That's fair. You know what? 31-0, and it goes to overtime somehow. And they let's stop. But listen, if they do beat Oregon today, whatever, this afternoon, this evening, and there's a game that just started right now too, so we'll get off here soon. But if they do beat Oregon, you'd have to think they're the odds-on favorite to win the title, right?
Yeah. I mean, Georgia's without Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Texas didn't look great in their opening round game.
No.
Penn State's had 2 cupcakes.
Oh my gosh, Penn State has had the nicest little road to the semifinals, haven't they? SMU and Boise State. Come on.
Dude, SMU's quarterback looked lost in that Penn State game. He looked like he didn't even know where – he didn't even look like he knew he was playing football.
Well, listen, it was really loud. I mean, you could see at points they were trying to call plays, and he had his hands over his ear holes, and he just was like shaking his head like, nope.
Well, did you see?
Can't hear.
The Southern reporter said that every time he put his hands to his ears, the crowd got louder.
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah. And I mean, they're well over 100 decibels there. I mean, that's an impressive place to play. That's I'm sure that was frightening for him. Not frightening, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? 34-23. I think that's a right around that range, like 35-24. You know what I'm saying? I think they win by 10, 11 points. And I think they get it done. And I think, gosh, man, do they go on and win a national title? We'll talk about it as we go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I do want to talk about one thing before we get out of here, Ben, because there is there's just a marketing miracle happening with bowl. No one cares about these bowl games that aren't playoff games, right? Everyone says, "Oh, there's too many bowl games. Tired of the 6-6 teams. They shouldn't get rewarded for winning 6 games. Whatever." I have no problem with guys getting to suit up one more time and play at this level. I think it's fun. I think all bowl games should be a blast. I think they should go over the top. I think they should make, we've got mayonnaise situations, right, where people get dunked in a whole thing of mayonnaise. Will Levis has now made he's got a whole endorsement campaign based on mayonnaise. It really couldn't be any more bland than mayonnaise, but wow. Anyway, like I said, we've got marketing campaigns that are successful, and then we've got marketing campaigns, Ben, that are the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl is prime marketing. Let's get that straight, okay?
Yes, it is.
There's nothing better than the Pop-Tarts Bowl going on right now. And even like the blue blood, which is really hard to say this morning. I almost said blue blood, blah, blah, blue, blah, blue. The blah, blue bowl games, that like the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Fiesta, like all the big ones. I think they pale in comparison to the marketing level that the Pop-Tarts Bowl is at right now,
agree.
Right? Let me go through some things real quick, Ben, okay? Because with the Pop-Tarts Bowl, first of all, you've got an edible mascot, okay? There we are. You see, I don't know who that is. He's eating the mascot. He doesn't look upset. He's winking. He's fine. The mascot's fine. Let's not, we don't need like any watchdog groups or anything. I think it's going to be okay. But they're eating the mascot, okay? Then the trophy has a working toaster.
I know, that's so cool.
Okay, so let's get a closer look. It's a working. You got Pop-Tarts in the trophy. That's amazing. And then listen, this year, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the game?
Bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch the whole game.
Okay, well, I'm sure that you at least are aware of the fact that they had a zombie resurrected mascot Pop-Tart thing that happened. Smoke and all. I mean, it was like the Undertaker coming out, right? Like the edible mascot from last year was resurrected. Look at him. He looks a little rough, but hey, he's still there, right?
Yeah.
He's there. I mean, they ate a lot of the frosty. He's still got a little bit of frosting over there. He's fine. So let me just ask you, and I think it's just knowing what we know about the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the marketing, the spectacle that the Pop-Tarts Bowl was, what it's becoming. People, listen, there's a lot of demand for tickets for the Pop-Tarts Bowl next year. No one knows who's playing. No one cares, right? You just want to be around the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So, Ben, How long before the Pop-Tarts Bowl is the national championship game?
I think if it gets big enough, well, you'd have to change the conferences because there it says Big 12 versus ACC.
Well, it does, and that's the alignment at the time. Yeah. But I mean, hey, I mean, the national championship game doesn't have, right? There's no bowl tie to it. It's just the national championship game.
But then you'd have to remove one of the bowl games and make that a Big 12 ACC game too. So,
well, but you could make another bowl. I mean, to be honest, what's stopping us from having the Toaster Strudel Bowl? I actually prefer Pop-Tarts. I prefer toaster strudels to Pop-Tarts. I don't know how we got into breakfast pastries on the show. It doesn't matter because the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that's the kind of marketing. We're talking about toaster strudels and Pop-Tarts today instead of the Rose Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl and whatever else is going on. I don't know. It's amazing. But listen, go watch playoff football. It's on right now. I don't want to hold you guys up. I have to go ice skate. My sister-in-law rented the pond, the local place here to ice skate. I won't be ice skating. I'll be watching my kids ice skate because my tailbone, I'm 45 years old. My tailbone's made of dust. I have no business on the ice. That's not going to happen. But yeah,
I think you should try and film yourself while you're ice skating and then send it to me.
Listen, that's asking for a broken tailbone, a broken phone. I mean, if you really want that video, I'll try to take it. If you want to see my pre-ER visit video, I'll show you. But it might be a 2 or 3 week hospital stay after I'm done, but that's fine. Listen, guys, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Go make it a great year. I mean, I hope that your 2025 is everything that you hope it will be. I hope you keep your resolutions for, longer than a day or two. People are pretty famous for dropping their resolutions. And by the way, if you've got your resolutions, I mean, this should be up on Facebook or whatever, drop, your resolution in the comment section.
For sure.
Or on YouTube or whatever. Just let us know what your resolutions are. My resolution is to make this a better, more entertaining, wider reaching show for you all that want to see it, including the 0 viewers that we have right now currently. But hey, we've been up to like 5 or 6, so that's pretty good. I'm kidding. No, I want this to be a better show. So my resolution is to make this the easier, streamlined, more whatever fun to watch show for you guys. I hope we can maybe even do more things with it. I'd like to reach, Ben and I have talked about some different things to reach a wider audience. So that's our resolution. But again, thanks for watching the Sports Show with No Name. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I hope you had a great Christmas. Listen, you can drop your comments in the comment section. Tell us how your Christmas went. Tell me what was your favorite Christmas gift? All the things. Just comment and like and subscribe and all that stuff.
I saw a report on my phone. The Eagles are resting Saquon Barkley week 18 against the Giants, so he won't get the record.
No record. That's okay, though, because listen, Barkley likes to hurdle people. And one of these times, that's going to go wrong, right? Someone's going to hurdle somebody and land on their head.
Yeah.
They're going to look like me trying to ice skate and, possibly. Listen, if I do try to ice skate, I'll take a video of it and we'll put it up here. We'll put it up on the show. It won't be live. You don't want to see that live because I think Facebook and YouTube have a thing against, graphic injuries. So they probably won't let me do that. But whatever. I'll edit the video and we'll maybe I'll show you a video of me trying to ice skate next episode. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss that. But again, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, a great year. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. If you've got time off work, enjoy that. Enjoy the time with your family. I've been having a lot of fun with my kids. I'm sad they're going to go back to school really soon. Don't love that part. I know that doesn't sound like a normal parent. Usually parents are really excited to get their kids back out of the house, but I'm really sad that mine are going back to school soon. So again, just thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys so much. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next week, hopefully, where we can talk about a Buckeye victory over Oregon and talk about the semifinal matchup.
If not, I won't be here.
If not, Ben quits the show. So I don't know. Maybe if you're not a Ben fan, you're rooting for Oregon today now. Whatever. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.